Hello, everybody, and welcome to Digital Thursday. Hopefully you were able to find your way here okay. This is the beginner session, so please, on the document provided, so if you are on the link, the collaborative link, when you go in there, please be sure that if we're going too fast or you have questions or you have comments, ask them, and we'll be able to help you along the way. So my name is Sarah Richey. I'm a technology coach with Program, and beside me is Heather Hickey, and she's fielding your questions right over there. So we're right next to one another, so don't be afraid to ask the questions, and we can help you out. Behind the scenes is the tech team, Nuno, Kelly, and Andy, and they'll be helping answering your questions as well. So with that, I'm going to get started and move on into our presentation screen. So just give me a minute. About that, I'm just going to move my way out. Okay. So as we're coming in today, we are going to be talking about digital collaboration tools. And as I said, we provided you a document link where you can collaborate there. And just make sure to write your name and then your question after it, and then we can know who we're talking to or who to answer. If you are ready to go on Yammer or Twitter, you can ask questions and connect with the tech team there, as well as other teachers that are in the session today. Make sure to use the hashtag DPChats. And if you use it at the end of your message before you send it in, we'll be able to pick up on it and see it. If you want to search at the top, you see a little search bar, hashtag DPChats, and enter. It'll come up with a conversation list of only the stuff that is being posted with the hashtag DPChats. Please don't worry about taking notes. The video is recorded and will be posted in Office 365, and we'll let you know where. So if you are just following along, have the conversation, ask your questions, and if you want to go back, you'll be able to look at the video afterwards. I'm going to go in for a minute, and I'm just going to show you if you're unsure. When we are working, let me go into my Safari, and you're splitting your screen because you're going to want to see the video and you're going to want to see what's happening on the Twitter or your collaboration space if you're asking questions. So you can always minimize this part. I just press that little one here. And you can take your tab, if you have another tab open for Twitter or for the collaboration page, and you can just pull it over. And you can see that it's created two windows. So here I know that I can see what's going on here. Emphasize that. Click on that. I want to go back to ask a question. I go back and I can click over here. So hopefully that can help you a little bit, just kind of organizing yourself, getting into one of the spaces. Just pull the tab over so that you can go back and forth between the two screens a little easier and be able to talk and ask questions. So as we begin talking about a collaborator and collaboration with the students, we're looking at skills and attributes that are beginning to shift and change. When we think of collaboration, it's not only about communication, it's about how we relate and connect to other networks. And all the skills themselves are intertwined together. So when we begin thinking about critical thinking and curiosity, empathy for others, all of those things are intertwined within the idea of collaboration. It's not something that stands alone. It's skill that takes a lot of other skills to be able to learn that one, right? So we take a bunch in order to understand how to collaborate with one another. As the students begin to move into the graduation, they do work within their Catholic graduate expectations. When we take a look at the Catholic graduate expectations, we can see that the idea of collaborating and communicating is very much a part of being a learner. As a Catholic learner, it's something that we embody. And as teachers, we foster the search for knowledge and skills by focusing on the values and attitudes and actions of the students when they're communicating and collaborating together. And this is something as teachers we hope to instill and help our students and guide our students learn these skills as they move into grade 12 and out into post-secondary or into careers. The voice of the learner today is changing. It's moving in, and they have different devices and things that are added into how they learn and what they do. So I'm going to show you a little video that gives you a little sense of what our learners are like today.
But I will not always sit in your classroom. I will not take out a pencil or open a textbook. You grew up with books. I read from a laptop, an iPad, a smartphone. I use a keyboard more than a pen. I am a digital native, an active learner. Why carry just a textbook when my iPad connects me to the world? I want to know things all the time, and right away. Maybe the best price for cool shoes, or where to hike the Himalayas. To learn, I look online, because the classroom isn't enough for me. Not when I can see faces, hear voices, and chat with people on the other side of the world. I want to learn about Chinese history from someone in Beijing. My school has to keep up with me, not the other way around. I have more and more choices. When you were my age, no one had heard of a charter school. No one could imagine a virtual school. But it's projected that by 2019, half of all high school courses will take place online. I use mobile devices to connect with friends, classmates, and teachers. And when I'm more connected, I'm more interested. I don't buy music at a store, or movies or books. I get them instantly online. And when they excite me, I share with friends. That's how I want my education to be. I need a degree even more than my parents. I know it, and so do my friends. But will I be prepared? Public grade schools are under huge budget pressures, and traditional college is increasingly unaffordable. I don't want crushing debt. If I can Google the best choice for cool shoes, rest assured I'll find the best choice of education, like 2-year institutions and online courses where students like me have grown to be 6 million strong. And when I'm older, I want to keep learning. Do you recognize me? Very soon, I will be changing the world. But I need you. If you're ready to help me, I'll find you. But it's your challenge to keep up with me. I'm a digital native, an active learner. Listen to me. Help me. Together, we can create the future.
I think it's important to understand that we can see now that their world and where they learn looks much different than it did, say, 10 years ago. What engages them, what motivates them is being connected and learning how to collaborate and be connected to information and resources. They have the devices and they have the way and they have the know-how. So it's involving that now into their learning. When we think about the idea of collaboration, when we're moving it into the digital world, we're not necessarily teaching new skills, because we already teach that idea of how to collaborate, how to talk to one another, respect one another's opinions, be positive, share ideas. But now this is just transferred into the online where we can enhance their learning. So the reason that we use our digital tools is to enhance the experience with multimedia, things like video and pictures, hyperlinks to other places. So it's that idea. We're on there and we're taking these tools and we're enhancing their learning in some way. We're going to extend their learning by using these tools. So one tool we're going to look at today is a tool called Padlet. So Padlet is a virtual wall that allows people to express their thoughts or opinions on a topic that's designed by the teacher. So it works like an online sheet of paper where people can put different ideas, but now they're not only adding words, they can add images and videos and the text anywhere on the page, together with anyone and from any device. I'm just going to move into Padlet and show you what that looks like. All right, so here you're seeing a task here. Now this is random freeform because in the last session I was just playing around with it. I'm going to go back to grid here. So I'm going to show you for what it looks like. So you can see that it's a virtual wall. It's web-based. It's something that you are providing a link. So you can see the link up here. You're providing the link to your students and they can come in. So they don't need to have an account. They don't need to sign up for anything. They just go into this and they're able to connect to the virtual wall. I'm going to show you a little bit of what that looks like. So here, you know, really by now you should know, anytime you see this little plus sign, it generally means to create or add something. So you're creating a new Padlet. But I'm just going to show you how to modify. So you see these different things, who it is. I can share, export it. So here, this is where I would find whether I'm embedding it to a website, if I just need the URL, or a QR code reader. So I could have that little QR code and they can go in and just go right into it. So it depends on your level of design and comfort. That's where you're at. But when you see this little gear here, it means to modify. When we start up at the top, it says basic info. So having your title, right? Maybe adding a description, and you can see over here that my description is put in here. So you can add a little bit about to what's going on. You could even just ask a question, right? You can see that that's coming up over here. So that's a little bit of just adding to the thought. But the most important and great part about it is being able to collaborate together as a group on a topic. And I'm just going to come down and I'm going to show you the wallpaper. So the wallpaper itself, you can add your own. Just say you want to add in a graphic organizer or something that they want to fit into. You can do that. A simple paper background. So you can, it all depends on the purpose at which you're moving it. Now, the reason that you would have a different layout, so this is our wallpaper, but when you look over here, it's a layout. The reason you would have a grid is when you take a look here, right? You have a grid so that it organizes. You can see rows. You can see all the different ideas that are coming up. In this task, we're asking a question, and we're seeing what the students think. So we show them a video, and then we got them to add all the different factors they think would take place when building this ramp. So they were brainstorming within here. But another way that you can, going back to the modify, would be in the layout, you could actually just do stream. So one after the other, whatever comes in at that time goes out, or you could do the free form. Now the free form would be good is if you put an organizer in here, you could move it under the sections where they need to be. The only thing is with this, the teacher is responsible for doing this and moving this around. The students are not able to move it around, nor are they able to delete. But you can see here, since this is my account, I'm able to delete what is in here and change and move things or edit them as I wish, because I am the owner of the Padlet. So that's what that would look like there, and they could add to it. So you could do this as a minds on. At the beginning of the class, you're collaborating an idea. They come in to do an activity. Maybe they're doing activity throughout the class, and they're adding to the Padlet as they go along, and you go back and look at the collaboration space in the end. So a lot of different reasons for using this one little tool. It all depends on the purpose that you choose on designing it. So I'm just going to head back into here and find the one. There we go. So there's a lot of benefits of digital learning, and I just want you to listen to this little testimonial of this. She's a grade 8 student, actually, but she talks about her experience with collaborating and what that felt like and how her learning was extended.
Called Finding the Moon Project, and we had to observe the moon for 3 months, I believe. And when we did so, we had to collaborate via internet sources and using books and packets, and we had to communicate with people in Korea, in Africa, in all these different places around the world, and we actually got to compare results on where our moon was and where their moon was when we experienced it. So that was a really exciting thing to actually use my technology to communicate with other people across the globe.
you can do anything you really need with technology, and using it in the classroom just creates a better educational environment, and it creates a better working environment for teachers as well, because the students can collaborate with people around the world. They can look for things around the world. And the internet is really just a huge source that students can use.
I think it's the idea when she's saying it's this huge source that students can use. All of a sudden she feels connected. She feels that she can get information, she can move around, she can look for things, and she doesn't really need to wait anymore. She can extend her learning when she needs to. And this is one of the great things of being able to learn with digital devices. As we know, we're moving into Office 365, and there's many great things that we can do within here. When we think about the idea of collaborating in Office, we can create groups, we can share files, we can build files just for our class, and they can put their assignments within there. And another good thing is that students are able to work together at the same time, or even at different times, depending on their schedules, on Word or PowerPoint, Excel, OneNote. So it offers a lot of collaboration spaces in which the students can basically extend and enhance their learning together and learn. So I'm going to pull out, and I'm actually going to go into Office. And as we know, we kind of sign in here. I'll show you what it should look like if you haven't been able to sign in as of yet. So when you go up here, you go into, and you can just, when you're on the board server, put DP Cloud. If you are not on the board server, you have to put in the whole address, dpcloud.dpcdsb.org. And when you put that in, you should come up with a sign-in page that looks like this. The sign-in is the same as your email. So you should be able to put the same information in, and you will be able to get into Office 365. When I come into here, I can see that I have a lot of different tools and apps that I can work within. Some of the things that I was telling you about was developing the groups within people, sharing files within OneDrive, and collaborating together, whether it be on Word Online, Excel, PowerPoint, or OneNote. So there's a lot of different tools, a lot of great tools to enhance the experience of learning and help them collaborate. I'm going to go in and show you how to design a group. I'm going to People. And here you're going to see what first comes up is any context, maybe people or your teaching partners, your admin, different people that you make contact on a regular basis, and groups that are designed already. I want to go in and show you what a group looks like. When I open up my group, I see the people that are placed within it. So I know that all members that are within it at this point. I know that I can change and move things around and add members when I want to. I also know that if I need to remove members or change things around, that I can do that. But I could also make them owners so that they have the ability to do the same, add, and add to the different tools that are up here. Another tool that you see here is a calendar. So the calendar can lead, and if just say that you're doing a group for a course or a group for your department, you can add when things are due, when things need to get done, maybe next steps. So it's that idea that it's just organization behind it, right? You can organize your ideas and where you're going in the upcoming months. The files, I'm just going into them. In the group, you can share your PowerPoints, your Words. Whoops, went into one of the PowerPoints. So you can see that you can share your PowerPoints and your documents, videos, JPEGs, your pictures, right? So you can go in there and just say the students are doing research or adding their thoughts. They can begin a group and add to it as they go along. So it's something that Not necessarily they're building together, but they're adding to what they're doing. So if you're working teacher to teacher, something you can also do, you can be adding your resources and your tasks and your summatives and different things that you want to share as a department can go into here. So it's a good little collaboration space. We go back to the group of people. We also see that the owner, now you can make everybody all owners depending on who's doing it, but just say it's the teacher that's leading this, the collaboration space. The teacher, and this isn't designed, it's just a shell, so I'm just going into it. When we go into the notebook, you can see that they can add information and content. So maybe it's assessments, assignments, maybe it's class notes. So they can attach this notebook right into here. But the owner is the one that is able to edit it and switch this around, unless, of course, it's shared. And you can share it with a group. So it all depends on what that looks like. And what your the permissions you enable them to have. So I'll show you and what that I mean by that. When I look at the idea of groups, I see that little plus sign. And as I said before, when we were looking at the Padlet, it had the same little sign. That little sign means to add or to create. So I go into here and I press it and it asks me to create a group. And I choose my name. So I just put Riche's 8s. And maybe what we're talking about that day. We're talking about history. And I can choose my privacy level. So here you can see I can make it public. Anyone can see what's inside it all. So they just would have to know the name of my group in order to search me and find me, and have to be on Office 365. Or I can choose to make it private. So only approved members can see what's inside. And then if I choose that, I know that only as a teacher, if I was setting it up for me and my students, then I know that they're only seeing that. And or if my students are setting it up and only want the teacher and the group to see it, or just the group to see it, they could do it like that. They all have access to create these groups as well. So would you go in and you press the word create? See this little save button up here? It looks like a little floppy disk sort of thing. Create. Now you have to add your members. So here, this may take a little bit of time depending on how many members are in it, but you do have to add in one by one into this little space, right? And I'm not knowing, whoops, you can see it comes up. So I'm going by the last names. I'm adding them in and making them members of the group. When I'm done adding the members, I press the word add. Give it a second, and you can see that my group is private, that the name of it, I can see that who's in it. You can see up here, my members, how many members are in it. I have my calendar, my files, my notebook, and then it's my shell to design with. The great thing also, and I didn't touch upon in the other one, was that you can have conversations, right? Just a test, we're working it out here, but you can talk to one another and talk about goals, next steps, what you need, and send it along. And you can see that it's posted, and the group can talk back and forth to one another within here. It's a really great space. When I move out here, I'm going to go back to the waffle, this little thing right here. Now you can attach other things to this. And I was talking about the documents within here, and I'm actually just going to hit on Office 365 and go back to that shell. Within the group, you can create new documents together, or you can add documents in. But when we go here, you can definitely collaborate within each of these. I'm going to show you what one of them looks like. So I'm going to open up Word. And I can see that I can choose to create a new document. So depending on what I'm doing, or that I might be choosing something else to share and plan with them. So I'm going to go into something that's already created just to give you a sense of what that looks like. Okay, so here you see that I can choose to edit the document. So I can choose to open it up in Word, so that would be on my computer, or I can edit it online the way it is right now. I can also, before I even choose to open it up, choose to share it with other people, or choose to make comments on it. So comments means basically I can highlight a word and I can ask to make a comment. So you can put a new comment down and you can choose to write on each one of these. Now I want you to think of when you are planning. You can plan with either your teaching partners or maybe your students are setting out a plan or organizing. So when we're thinking of the idea of collaborating, they can be collaborating together. They can be collaborating with you. You can be collaborating with other teachers. So there's many different reasons to use this type of tool, right? It's all on the purpose. But the great thing about it is that you don't really need to go into it or write within the document itself. You can write to the side, give your feedback, your thoughts, or begin brainstorming or collaborating outside of the document. And all you need to do, and all it does is add these little bubbles, right? So the person would highlight it. You could add it in, right? So I just highlighted it and I pressed, my right little one or your right clicker, depending if you're using a mouse. And I asked to comment and just say, what's this? I'm not sure what things is. And I just post it. And you can see that it's come up beside it. I know that something's there. If I don't want to see my comments, I can put it off. I want to see all of them. I bring them back and it tells me what page it is. When I'm sharing, so I'm pressing that little share. See that where the person is with the plus and the share? We go into there. And there's different ways we can share. The first thing I want you to see is that you can choose when you're sharing it, whether the people can edit it or you just want them to view the document. So you don't want them to do anything. You just want them to see it. You're sharing it for a different purpose. Usually with collaboration, we want them to be able to edit it. So we're going to stay with there. If you've created a group, the great thing about this is if you're sharing a document with the groups, your class, you can just go in and here we go. The group that I just created is here. And it says one group will be invited. And I can choose to require a sign-in, but because if we're coming from Office 365 and Duffer and Peel, I will not, because they will get it in their emails, and I'm not worried about that. And then I'll choose to share it. So I'm going to press share. And you can see that I received an email. So that comes up as well saying that I've shared using a link. Another way to share, I'm going to go back into the share button, is by getting, so if I choose, so it's just telling me that I got an email. That's that little sound there. If I just want to get a link instead of sharing it within a group or within Office 365, it's all on the purpose and who I'm sending it to. But I can copy the link and then email it out. I can choose for it to be an edit or a view-only link. I can choose as to whether they need a Duffer and Peel account or only a restricted link to certain people. So there's a lot of options within giving out this link. The other thing is if you're giving out a link that's no sign-in required, you can also set an expiration. So if I click on this little thing here, a little arrow pointing down, I can see they give some options. Never, 1 day, 30 days, or I can customize to how long I want that link to be open. Once that certain amount of time has gone, then the link will close and the person will no longer be able to get into there. So it all depends on how long you want it open, how long you want it out there, and who you're sharing it with. I can also see at any time when I open up share, who I'm sharing with. So if I put share with, I can see that these groups are able to edit and who's in it, who's the owner and what's happening there. So I just come out of there and hopefully that makes some sense. And if you have any questions or statements or comments, I can hear Heather typing away. So hopefully you guys are okay out there. I come back in and I'm going to give you a sense too. So we went over these and just reviewing that idea. When you're going into Microsoft Online with Word or PowerPoint, you're able to upload and save to your computer. So if you want to take it off and take it offline, you can do so. You can edit anytime from anywhere, which is great, any device. You can choose who can access your documents. So we saw that we were able to share with whoever we wanted and how we wanted, whether we wanted to be closed or restricted. And the great thing, you can be working at the same time. You're able to share your changes in real time. And we know that within Office 365, the files are stored and they're secure within there. I'm going to briefly touch upon this and show you a little bit about what Class Notebook looks like. So this is still within Office 365, and I showed you when we went in a little bit. But there's 3 spaces. So when a Class Notebook is created, and I'm going to show you what that looks like in a second, it has a content library, student notebooks, and collaboration. There's a little video that's going to kind of just review what it looks like to set up a notebook. And when you do the same thing. You go into Office 365 the same way that you saw us go into previous 2. And let's see if I can just show you quickly what that looks like. So when you see this, the OneNote, I would click on there. And when I click on there, this is where the video is going to start. So I just want to show you how to get in. Oh, maybe not. Not that one. We're going into Class Notebook, sorry. So I'm just going to bring me back. Sorry, not OneNote. That's when it's just closed down. It should be Class Note. And for some reason, it's disappeared on me. So I'm going to go back up to my waffle, and then I see it here. So I just don't have all the apps there. So I just went up there. So if you see that happen, go up to your waffle, you'll find it there, and I go into Class Notebook. And there we go. And you're going to be able to see create a class notebook. And I'm going to go into the intro just to show you what that looks like.
Work together with other people using OneNote. For teachers, that means being able to collaborate on class projects, share assignments with students, and provide feedback on student work. The free OneNote Class Notebook Creator lets teachers quickly set up notebooks designed for classroom use. To get started, click or tap Create a Class Notebook. Next, give the notebook a name. The OneNote Class Notebook Creator provisions a notebook with 3 section groups, each with its own unique permissions. The collaboration space allows both teacher and students to edit content. This is great for shared group or classroom projects. The content library allows teachers to edit content, but students can only view or copy the content. This area can be used for distributing tests, assignments, or other course materials to students. Student notebooks provide a private space for each student to work. Teachers can view and edit each student's notebook, but students can only see their own. Click or tap Next to continue. You can share your notebook with other teachers or staff in your organization. We'll explore this feature later in the guide. For now, click or tap Next to skip this step. Enter the names of your students. Each student will be assigned his or her own student notebook. Student notebooks contain a few sections by default. You can add more or continue to accept the suggestions. Before you create the class notebook, you're provided with a preview. Let's scroll down to take a closer look. These are the notebook sections the teacher will see. Click or tap Student's Notebook. This is what students will be able to see. Click or tap Create. OneNote begins provisioning and configuring permissions for the teacher notebook and each of the student notebooks. When provisioning is complete, you'll see a link to the new class notebook. Send the link to your students. This is how they'll access the notebook. You can also open the notebook directly from here. Now you can get started at...
Okay, so I'm actually going to go in and show you myself what it may look like. I just wanted to give you a sense of what it looked like to create the notebook if you hadn't been able to go to that step yet. So here you can see, I've actually opened this offline. So when I've went into here, let's see if I can show you. When I went into my notebook links, oh, it opens it up right away. So this is the notebook, and I just want you to see this is the one here. It says open OneNote, and I just pressed that option, and I opened it offline. I wanted to show you it has the 3 spaces it was talking about: the collaboration space, the content library, and here you can see that 2 students are placed in it, and they're just kind of little imaginary students in there for us. And in this collaboration space, there's just different ways. Now, it's a shell generally, and you are adding pages to it. So you decide as the teacher what that collaboration space is going to look like for your students. Here you can see that you can add, graphic organizers in which they go in and add, or depending on their level, I'm sure they could be imaginative to create their own brainstorm session. The idea of developing success criteria for their own groups. So maybe talking about assessment or participation and what they think they need in order to be successful in each of those things. And you can do that within groups and have them coming in and taking ownership into their learning and having a voice in your course. So just getting that idea of what a collaboration space could look like. It's something that is designed by the teacher, and it's something that has a purpose that adds to the learning, whether it motivates the student or gives voice to what they're thinking. One more idea, just putting it out there, is that idea of circle of voices. So depending if you're working and focusing on a particular person or a particular time, you could have quotes or ideas in there in which the students go in and choose a reflection, choose which one they want and reflect. And it could be a discussion piece that you blend back into the classroom. So whatever you're using, you're obviously tying into your learning and you're connecting. Another idea, and just keeping it simple here, I just want to show you the content library. Here is just letting the students know like what that's about there and what that looks like. I'm just going to move. So here we go. When I move into the students, I can see that they have their tabs for the courses I may be doing or the units I may be doing with them, and the different things that they're working through within it. And now there's no notes in here, but the students could in their personal notebook take notes. And here they could collaborate with me, and they're taking something out of the content to work on an assignment. I'm able to come into their notebook at any time and be able to see where they are and how they're doing and provide feedback. So I'm collaborating here and offering my own ideas of where I think they're at, some questions, and maybe giving them a level of where I think they are on a rubric and how they're doing. And I would be doing this maybe along the way, the formative idea that I can see that this student has just started the essay and they're just working along and beginning it. So here I can see that I can go in and provide feedback and let them know how they're doing. So I can collaborate as a teacher to student, and there can also be student to student collaboration within it. I'm going to skip through here actually and just go into the idea of considerations. When we're thinking about digital collaboration, we're thinking definitely of the idea of our digital citizenship and defining the workplace. I'm going to flip out and go into a site, OSAPAC, that has developed, just open this up for you so you can see it a little bit better. So I've gone into OSAPAC, and under projects, I've gone to digital citizenship. And when having the students collaborate online or working within the online world, where a lot of the time they're thinking of the idea of that we need to behave, we need to treat each other well, and we need to protect our passwords. But there's so much more to the idea of now being online and really thinking about how they're using it. When we think about the idea of communication, we're thinking about their digital footprint. They're building who they are online as well as offline. When they move into their careers, into their workplaces, their employers are now going to Google them. They're going to check what their online persona is. And here they're going to have to figure out, if they're not there, why are they not there? So as teachers, we're helping them build that online digital footprint, what that looks like, how we behave, and that when it does go out there, it is out there for the world, and it does represent who we are. And I think now more than ever, now that the internet has kind of taken over and exploded, and there's so many tools and so many connections globally, that really people can know who we are from the other side of the world. So it's really getting them to understand the impact it has when they're out there. The idea of protection, and we see this little key, and I think that's what most people think. We got to keep our passwords safe. We got to keep our information safe, and that is correct. However, it's also thinking of the idea of health. Okay, so it's that balancing their lives. We know as our high school students, they're out there, they're on their devices all the time. How do we lead them in the way of how to balance and use their devices for the right purpose and at the right time? And what does that look like? The idea of creation and credit, they're obviously full of information and resources coming from everywhere. It's information overload. How do we teach them how to credit what they see and credit other people's work, but also credit their own work? They have creation. They can get copyright. They can show people that, here, I've done this and this is under my name, and copyright their own information and have the ownership and voice that comes along with their work. Finally, the idea of critical thinking. Students now need to understand how to evaluate websites. They have to be able to know where they're going, know what they're reading, know how to move through things, and really understanding how to use it, how to communicate, what to post, what not to post. There's a lot to think about now that we have the internet, and how it really represents who we are and connects to us as we move into the future. This site here, we're going to wrap up here. I just want to show you that when you do go into these, just say you go into health and protection, if you're not sure where to start, it gives a sense of what it is. So it reviews what it is for you. Just go into it, come on. There we go. And you can see that it has the intermediate and the secondary. So if I go into secondary, I can see that I have resources, so it already has things, and all of these things are vetted by the ministry already, so you know that they're safe and you can use them. So you can use these resources. There's hyperlinks, videos, websites, and if you really still need a little bit of connections, it shows you here some courses that can be connected to it, and gives you example lessons and things you can do. So it's a great place to start, kind of look at, get comfortable with, and get to know it. And I'm just going to look at this slightly before I move on out. I know I was looking at a session before, but I want you to know that as we're moving into learning to use digital tools, I want you to expect problems and be okay that things aren't always going to go the right way. Maybe sometimes Wi-Fi is not working and you got to switch to plan B. But just be sure to be patient and let the students guide you sometimes, because they do know the world very well and work together to learn from one another. I'm going to flip back out and come back to you. Let me just find you. Okay, so hopefully I didn't go too fast today and you were able to ask your questions and the team was able to help you behind the scenes. If you have any questions, we're still here to help. Offer them out to the Twitter world or to the document that we're on. We're here to answer them. We will also be reviewing some of these ideas when it comes to Tech Tuesdays. So every 20 minutes from 9 till about 4, we're on. So come on, join us. If you want to learn a little bit, come throughout the day, come on the Tuesdays, and we'll extend what we're learning within the month. As well, on the Google Docs that you found the link for the YouTube, there's a little one, a little hyperlink at the bottom for a survey, just to let us know how the session went for you. It's very short. Just give us an idea, you know, what you like, what you challenge, what you'd like to see as the months go on. It would really help us develop these Digital Thursdays for you. So thank you so much for joining us, and looking forward to collaborating with all of you soon.